Hi there, my name is Pam Hart, and I am Executive Director here at the Center for Animal Law Studies. And I am here today with Clinical Professor Delcianna Winders, and we're excited to celebrate a special occasion with you all. It's our 1-year anniversary of our Animal Law Litigation Clinic. And for those of you out there who don't know, our Animal Law Litigation Clinic is the world's first and only legal clinic devoted to advancing protections for farmed animals. We launched our clinic with a vision of providing critical litigation skills for law students while also advocating for farmed animals in cutting-edge cases. We're so proud to have watched this vision become a reality over the past year, and we could not have done it without your support. So many of you out there who share our commitment to making the world a better place for farmed animals. Welcome, Delcy.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. Why don't we just go ahead and dive right in? We have a lot to cover on our anniversary. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Well, let's start with the fact that it's hard to believe that it's been a full year since we've launched this clinic. And when you look back at the very beginning of this all, what were your hopes for? What did you hope to accomplish when you launched the clinic and started to work with these budding animal law attorneys, as well as, starting to specialize your focus exclusively on farmed animals?
So my vision for the Animal Law Litigation Clinic was definitely ambitious and expansive, and it was to do nothing short of changing the legal landscape for farmed animals. I think law school clinics are uniquely positioned to select cases based on whether they're likely to have significant impacts both for individuals and structurally. And I wanted to take full advantage of that. One of the models we looked to in developing the clinic was the Innocence Project. And through the law school clinic model, they have been able to free hundreds of wrongfully convicted individuals while also structurally changing the criminal justice system. And we aim in the Animal Law Litigation Clinic to help individual animals while also creating lasting structural change for billions of animals and training students to continue building on that change.
Thank you. And like we said at the beginning of this, it's been a really exciting year and you've been very busy. And the litigation clinic has already filed 2 lawsuits against the United States Department of Agriculture. And these lawsuits relate to its failure to protect pigs. We're going to talk about those lawsuits in a minute here. But first, I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to focus these cases on pigs? Why start there?
Pigs are near and dear to me. I actually had pigs who I raised when I was a child, and learning about factory farming after they were slaughtered was what really turned me into an animal advocate. So I know firsthand how intelligent, how complex, how emotional, how amazing pigs are. So when I learned about these instances where the U.S. Department of Agriculture is just defying longstanding mandates to protect these pigs, who are also comprise the largest number of land animals that we slaughter each year in this country, I knew we had to do something about that for our first lawsuits.
Great. So back to the lawsuits. Can you tell us about the 2 that are pending against the U.S. and why you believe they are important for farmed animal protection?
Yeah, our first lawsuit challenges the U.S. Department of Agriculture's recent deregulation of pig slaughter, which lifts longstanding limits on how fast pigs can be slaughtered, while also reducing oversight by inspectors inside the slaughterhouse. And what this means is that it's more likely that pigs are going to be violently forced to their deaths to keep pace with ever faster line speeds, and also less likely that these violations will be detected. It also means that pigs are going to be less likely to be rendered unconscious before their throats are slit and they're dropped into scalding tanks. So the impacts of this for pigs are really serious, and they're compounded by the fact that the USDA determined that this deregulation will facilitate the factory farming and slaughter of about 11.5 million more pigs each year in the United States. Our second lawsuit is focused specifically on downed pigs, pigs who are too sick or injured to stand or walk. And according to industry estimates, well over 500,000 pigs arrive at slaughterhouses in the United States in this condition each year. And these animals are uniquely vulnerable precisely because they can't stand or walk. So workers do anything that they can to try to force them to walk to their deaths, dragging them, excessively electroshocking them, kicking them, punching them. The examples are just horrific that we've read about. And nearly 2 decades ago, the USDA was directed by Congress to address this issue, and it has failed to do so. In addition, it recently denied a petition for regulations banning the slaughter of downed pigs for human consumption to protect both the animals and human health. And it denied that petition. So we are challenging all of these failings in that second lawsuit with the aim of protecting the many hundreds of thousands of downed pigs who are suffering so much at slaughterhouses each year.
Thank you for that. And thank you for that recap and all your work with these 2 lawsuits. And, you know, it leads me to believe there's a second component or a benefit to the Animal Law Litigation Clinic, which is awareness. What type of opportunities do you have to bring awareness to these issues and to the plight of farmed animals through the Animal Law Litigation Clinic?
We have huge potential and opportunities, and I would say a responsibility to raise awareness to these issues through the Animal Law Litigation Clinic. I teach students media training as a critical component of our litigation. We work hard to get media attention to these issues. On the downed pigs lawsuit, for example, we worked with the Washington Post to break the exclusive on that lawsuit. And it's so important to raise public awareness because polling consistently shows that Americans believe farmed animals should be treated well. And yet they don't realize that there is not a single federal law regulating animals on farms, not a single one. And states have not stepped up to fill this void either. So there's a misperception that animals on farms are given at least minimal protections, and that couldn't be further from the truth. These problems are compounded by the fact that we're seeing a plethora of labeling claims suggesting that products are raised humanely, when in fact 99% of animals in this country used for food are on factory farms.
So we talked a lot about the problem and how you're using the law to challenge a lot of these issues. Can you give us a sense of scale and scope? How many animals are we talking about? Let's just say in the US alone that are killed and slaughtered every year.
The scope is truly mind-boggling, and it continues to grow. So, for example, last year we killed about 130 million pigs in the United States, more than 34 million cattle and calves, well over 2 million sheep and lambs, and numerous other mammals, including goats and bison. So that's just the mammals. When you look at birds, we killed more than 9 billion birds for food in the United States last year and every year, most of them chickens, but also turkeys and ducks. And then there are the aquatic animals. Those are not even measured in terms of individual lives. We measure them only in tons, but estimates indicate that the number is certainly in the billions. And when we include shellfish, it's in the trillions. That's
really incredible when we start to talk about the enormity of those numbers. And so, in your opinion, what needs to change for animals to have their interests protected within the legal system?
A lot needs to change, but first and foremost, we need to have laws protecting farm animals that are enforced in a meaningful way. And I think we need to start by tackling factory farming, which is a system that has allowed a small handful of multi-billion-dollar multinational corporations to externalize all sorts of costs, including animal suffering, without any accountability whatsoever. So we need basic laws requiring them to stop doing things like subjecting farmed animals to a host of mutilations without any painkillers, confining them so tightly they literally can't even turn around, shipping them in crowded transport trucks without any temperature control, to slaughterhouses where they're violently forced to their deaths. We need to prohibit these egregious abuses that they're allowed to do right now without any accountability whatsoever.
And that makes really good sense. And I think that the pandemic really has shone a bright light on some of these issues, industrial agriculture, and all the horrific problems that it entails. In addition to the terrible treatment of animals, it also has other impacts. Could you take a minute and talk about that?
Yeah, our food system, because it is so underregulated and is dominated by these massive corporations, really puts profit above all else. So animals and their well-being are not accounted for, but nor are humans. Only these corporations' interests are furthered. Everybody else suffers as a result. So workers suffer tremendously. We've seen that with COVID outbreaks in slaughterhouses and the failure of these corporations to protect these workers at all, and their efforts to avoid any responsibility for that failure. The environmental impacts cannot be overstated. Factory farming is one of the leading causes of climate change. Animal agriculture produces a tremendous amount of methane, which is an exponentially more heat-trapping gas than carbon dioxide. Factory farming also generates millions of tons of waste, which are often just dumped into our waterways. Factory farming is facilitating the creation and spread of a host of zoonotic diseases, and then making that situation worse by feeding farmed animals antibiotics prophylactically, and thus facilitating the creation of antibiotic-resistant pathogens. I could go on and on, but those are some of the highlights of our fundamentally broken food system, which is forcing all of us to pay the cost of profits for this handful of corporations.
And that is a lot to take in. So thank you for explaining it. But I imagine that with the work you do with your students and everything, that this can at times be overwhelming, hopeless. So what I'd like to ask you is, a positive thing. When you look back on your year and there's so much that needs to be worked on, what is the thing that you are the most proud of with the clinic, with the students, and with your work for the past year?
I am so proud of the students. I could not be more amazed and inspired than I am by the students. They give me the hope that I need to go on doing this work every day, because it can be really daunting. But to see their level of commitment, how they're committed to this work for the long haul, how hard they are willing to work for animals, both in the legal system and just raising awareness, it gives me an incredible amount of hope. So I am just so thankful that I have the opportunity to train this generation of animal lawyers who is so eager, and I know is going to do amazing things and create the fundamental change in the legal landscape that the Animal Law Litigation Clinic was founded to do.
Wonderful answer. And again, it's a great reminder for me, you, everybody who's watching, that there is a next generation of law students and one after that will be working to tackle these issues and to really advocate for farmed animals with Delci at the helm. So thank you for all you're doing, and thank you to the students. It's so important for all of us. And so I'll wrap it up with one final question. We have year one under our belts. We're looking forward to year two. Rumor has it you have a full roster of students in your animal law litigation clinic this year, so congratulations on that. Can you briefly share with us what you hope to accomplish in year two?
Yeah, I'm so excited that we are not just fully subscribed, but we actually have students on the wait list for the Animal Law Litigation Clinic. So I am working now on our docket for the coming year, and we are going to be filing a series of lawsuits at both the state and federal level that aim to create fundamental change for farmed animals and the way they're treated in our legal system. I unfortunately can't share details with you quite yet due to confidentiality rules that I hammer into the students' heads, so I can't be a hypocrite about those, but I hope you'll stay tuned to learn about them because they are really exciting and They're a long list of cases that we're aiming to bring. And of course, the students will be involved every step of the way so that when they finish their year with the clinic, they are ready to go out and continue bringing similar litigation on their own.
Well, thank you, Delcy, and thank you for all the updates, and happy anniversary to us. It's been a terrific year. I'm really anxious and looking forward to seeing everything that you and the students are doing in year 2 and beyond. Thanks so much for your time today, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you. I look forward to having some updates to share with you.
Thank you, Delcy, and thank you everybody else who joined us today, and we look forward to talking with you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.